The Senate has released its version of a health care bill, and reactions are pouring in. Make-believe Washington Redskins Senator Elizabeth Warren issued a statement saying, quote, "If this bill becomes law, everyone who has ever been born will eventually die. So many thousands of human beings will lie dead on the street at the bloody hands of Republican serial killers. It will be like that time the paleface set fire to our teepees and chased my tribe into a trail of tears. We must respond by attacking the Capitol on horseback with stolen rifles and tomahawks. Otherwise, the Republicans will just continue purveying the ugly, over-the-top rhetoric that leads to violence," unquote. Senator Warren later issued a correction saying she was not, in fact, a member of the Washington Redskins, but did have a featured role in Dances with Wolves as a squaw who gets into Harvard Law School on false pretenses before being killed at Wounded Knee. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer also weighed in on the new health care bill, sobbing uncontrollably throughout a press conference during which he said in part, quote, "I haven't been able to stop weeping since I pretended to read this bill. I just sit on the edge of my bed, clutching my rag doll and crying and crying. Anyone who saw me would be so filled with pity they would never vote for this bill. The Statue of Liberty saw me through my bedroom window and began to cry so hard she rusted, and now may never get to Oz to ask the wizard for courage," unquote. The rest of Schumer's statement was unintelligible. Hillary Clinton, who used to be someone or other, issued a statement on the Senate health bill after being asked for her opinion by an imaginary reporter she saw in a dream about how she would have won the presidency if it hadn't been for the Russians. Mrs. Clinton said, quote, "This bill sucks. Everything sucks. The whole country sucks. Otherwise, so help me, it'd be me traveling around in a helicopter wearing a big red tie," unquote. Mrs. Clinton then knocked back her third martini of the morning and dragged on a cigarette, muttering, quote, "Misogyny, I tell you. If it weren't for misogyny, that big red tie would be mine," unquote. Former President Barack Obama, or whatever his name is, also said something about the bill, but who cares? Finally, there have been some attacks on the bill from the right. Angry conservative commentator Hank Angry told his listeners, quote, "I'm angry because Republicans promised to repeal Obamacare so they'd get elected, then broke their promise so they wouldn't get voted out of office. Who ever heard of politicians behaving in such a way? They should just let Obamacare crash and burn so that millions of Americans suffer, we lose our majority, and then I can be angry about that, which after all is what I do for a living," unquote. President Trump was unavailable for comment, but did send out a tweet saying he was defecting to Russia where the healthcare was free. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
All right, we're back after the long Klavanless weekend, and the news is tremendous. Michael Knowles will actually be here. Our Daily Wire scientists have been working around the clock to develop the technology, and we have finally developed this incredible new system of bringing him into the room and having him sit next to me, and we'll share the microphone. It's not very highly technological, but he will have a bionic arm. So that's, I don't know, maybe I just made that up. I can't remember anymore, like what is happening in my imagination, what's happening in real life. I will tell you that every time I do something new, like I write a book, if I write a book, somebody writes to me and says, give us your bio, put the bio on the book, or whatever new video, put the bio under the video. And what I've noticed is that my bios, which include like highlights from my career, now include more things that didn't exist when I started working. So I'm doing a podcast, right? There were no podcasts just a few years ago. I've helped invent an app, a storytelling app. Apps didn't exist a few years ago. So I'm constantly having to, learn new stuff. And I mean, that's how you keep going, especially in the creative fields, in the arts, where things are always changing and each new technology comes along with new ways of telling stories. That is why there's SkillShare, because you can't go back to school for every little thing. You got to keep abreast of what's happening. But SkillShare is an online community, a learning community with over 15,000 classes and all kinds of things, design, business, and more. I've looked at the classes for marketing, how how to sell things online. I've looked at the classes for writing, which was just to test. You test it on something you know about to see if they're any good. And the classes were actually quite good. It was good advice I wish I'd had when I was younger. And you can learn anything on this site, from logo design to social media marketing to street photography. Anything you want, and unlimited access to all of this for a low monthly price. And that's the price you pay. You don't have to pay per class. You don't get in the middle and they say, oh, if you want to finish this class, you have to pay more. It's one low monthly price. One low monthly price. It's got all this stuff: Adobe Illustrator for design, logo design, for photography. They've got street photography, mobile photography, marketing. They have email marketing, social media marketing, entrepreneurship, illustrations, watercolors, hand lettering, stuff you might just want to do for fun and learn how to do it for fun. And they are giving my listeners a month of unlimited access absolutely free. Go to www.skillshare.com/Andrew. You get a free month. www.skillshare.com/Andrew to get a free month of Skillshare. Learn new stuff. It's good. So the news is actually kind of amazing today. Actually, it's been amazing all week. Things are changing. Things are really happening. And one of the problems with the news is that the news always focuses on events, right? That's what the news is. It's an event. Something happens. But there's also a more general shift taking place. I want to talk about that too, that I really think is a positive thing. At least it has a positive aspect. But today we had the Supreme Court reinstated the travel ban, the Trump travel ban against several primarily Muslim countries. And this is a really positive thing. I mean, they're going to have a hearing on it in October. They're going to hear the case about the travel ban in October. But what they said was the lower courts can't suspend the ban until that hearing takes place. And by the hearing time, I'm going to learn to speak again by the end of the show. By the time the hearing takes place, Trump will have, they said that's all the time they would have needed. That's going to be in the fall. So that's all the time they need to see what kind of new security measures they need. But mostly this is important for just giving a slap in the face to the lower courts who just joined the resistance to shut down Trump because they don't like Trump and they don't like the way he's thinking, and they think they should be in charge of how people think and what the president does. So I think we're going to have a Trump happiness montage for this. I think this is worthy of a Trump happiness montage. Yes, the court has ruled it is. Let's hear it.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet.
Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. You'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay.
We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I love the Trump happiness montage. We haven't had enough chances to use it, so we're going to use it liberally and often. And, the news in general is good. We now know that Trump isn't under an FBI investigation, but Bernie Sanders and his wife, they're under investigation because Bernie Sanders' wife was running a college, and she apparently she's accused of having misrepresented the college in order to get a loan, and there's a possibility that Sanders pressured the bank to get a loan using his position, and so that's under investigation. Hillary Clinton is under investigation for something she did. I can't even, off the top of my head, I can't remember. It was some country where she may have fiddled with the court system. And who else? Obama is under the Obama people. Loretta Lynch is under investigation for whether she pressured Comey to skewer the email association. Everybody's under investigation except for Trump. So this whole thing is just blown up in the Democrats' faces. Plus, they keep losing. The Democrats keep losing. They lost this loss in Georgia. They've been sitting around going, they're stuck with this Russia thing. They're telling, the rank and file is telling the leadership, stop talking about Russia because we keep losing, but they're raising money money off the Russia thing. And, of course, the news, the media cover it. And, of course, the media now is running the Democrat Party. But Chuck Schumer has got a great idea. Crying Chuck Schumer has now got a great idea that maybe the problem, the reason they're losing is because of their policies. This is somebody explained this to Chuck. Yeah, they said it really slowly. Policies, Chuck. But you got to listen to this cut from this week talking to George Stephanopoulos. It's hilarious. This is Chuck describing how they're going to help all those awful, deplorable people they don't like thinking about, but maybe have a vote for some reason.
Just 6. Democrats need a strong, bold, sharp-edged, and common-sense economic agenda. Policy, platform, message that appeal to the middle class, that resonate with the middle class, and show that, and unite Democrats. That's what I've been working on for months, and I've been talking to Democrats, House and Senate, all across the country. I've been talking to Trump voters. I was at a Yankee game Saturday night, and I sat next to someone, just because that's how the seats were. We sit in the grandstand wearing I'm proud to be a deplorable voter, a truck driver. This economic message platform is going to resonate. It's what we were missing, and it's not going to be baby steps. It's going to be bold. We're coming out with it this summer, within a month. You will see it, and Democrats will try to pass it legislatively for a year and campaign on it in 2018. It's what we were missing in 2016 and in the past. We know that. When you lose an election, you don't blame other people, you blame yourself.
Chuck went to a Yankees game and he met a truck driver. This was an exciting revelation for Chuck. He was wearing a deplorable Trump t-shirt, and because Chuck, he always sits in the bleachers, so he got to sit next to the deplorable voter, a guy wearing a deplorable t-shirt. The look of self-satisfaction on his face, if you can't see it when he says this, he's so pleased with himself that did he talk to him? Did he ask him any questions? I don't know. Did he buy him a beer? Anything. He doesn't tell us, but just the fact that he was sitting next to him just illuminated his mind with this need for economic policy. We thought we just had to tell people which bathrooms to use. We just thought we just had to try to take people's children away have them operated on if they wanted to play with dolls. We didn't realize they wanted some help in their jobs and their work. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing that is happening to the Democrat Party. They are absolute. Meanwhile, of course, the rank and file are just calling for Pelosi's head. They're so tired of Nancy Pelosi, an abortion purist, a San Francisco who sells San Francisco values. She keeps talking about San Francisco values, and then the Republicans use that on their ads. So it's like the Democrats lose anything. But there's more good stuff. But before, I just want to remind you that Michael Knowles is going to be here to talk about July 4th is coming up, and we're going to discuss that. But that comes after the break. So if you're on Facebook and YouTube, you got to come over to thedailywire.com. If you would just subscribe for a lousy $8 a month, you could have the whole thing. You watch the whole thing on the site. And the prices are going up on July 1st, but they're not going up for the people who've already subscribed. So this now becomes an intelligence test, okay? Because right now it's only $8 a month, and if you subscribe now, it'll remain $8 a month. But as of July 1st, it goes up to, I think, $15,000 a week. And also we come and repossess your car. But for that, Shapiro will come to your home and tell your husband to man up. I may have made that up too. I'm not sure. No longer sure where my imagination ends. If you subscribe for a year, you get Ben's book, Say It So. He wrote it with his dad, David, about the championship season of the White Sox, which was 2005, already fading from memory and never to be repeated ever again. A new YouGov poll on trust in the media spelled more bad news for the old guard establishment news organizations. I'm reading this news story, which once were considered the incorruptible beacons of the truth, but are now regarded with widespread skepticism on both sides of the aisle. YouGov found that a total of 70% of Americans agree that news organizations report in a biased manner. When was the last time you saw a poll in which 70% of Americans agreed on what time it was, on anything? The one thing we all agree on is the news media stinks. And Donald Trump, it's the Trump effect. It really is. This has brought this to the fore. He has driven his truck, that truck that Chuck Schumer heard about at the Yankees game. Trump has driven it into the rotten structure of this of the media. And I think it is a big, big deal. And I know we have to talk about legislation, we'll talk about healthcare and all that stuff, but this is important. This matters. And here's another thing that matters. This is from the Wall Street Journal. A string of protests on college campuses that shut down events hosting conservative speakers has prompted universities around the country to pledge more tolerance for diverse opinions. But skeptics say they'll believe it when they see it. Johns Hopkins University announced Thursday a $150 million effort to facilitate the restoration of open and inclusive discourse. The University of California at Berkeley, where I graduated, and which of course is in the heart of darkness, where protesters halted speeches by conservatives Milo Yiannopoulos and Ann Coulter, is debating bringing in conservative faculty to broaden the spectrum of political discourse on campus. The very fact that they are talking about this, if they see it through, it will be close to a miracle, but it would be a wonderful thing. About a dozen schools have signed on to a new doctrine from the University of Chicago that puts free speech above concerns about political correctness. And look, you know, they're not doing this because of a love of free discourse and a love of conservatism. They're doing this because the mob is at the gate and the people aren't showing up. The people will not send their kids to schools where they're going to face riots and be, there's going to be prejudice against them because they're white. All of this is the Trump effect. All of this is the fact that Chuck Schumer isn't sitting next to a truck driver because he wants to. He's sitting next to one because he's got to, because he realizes they've lost the country. All that little sliver of land between California and New York turns out to hate these people. They hate these people, and Trump knows it, and they love Trump and the way he talks to them. They get it. They get it. All of this stuff is the Trump effect, and I think he deserves credit for this. And it brings me to this healthcare bill, which is like a stake in many conservatives' hearts. And I got to stop here and say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube because we're out of, yes, we are. We're out of time. But come on over to thedailywire.com, subscribe, because on July 1st, the rates go up to, I think it's $100,000 a year, right? But it's July 10th now? They've changed it. Oh, okay. I was told July 1st, but you've got until July 10th. So you've got a lot of time. This is an intelligence test. If you like watching thedailywire.com, it's $8 a month now and will remain $8 if you subscribe now. But later on, it goes up to $50,000 an hour. So come on over.